My interest in art started in very early age. I was very much drawn to it by drawing compulsively. Most of children do it, but the difference is that I never stopped. I come from a small town in Brazil called Mococa, which has a huge Italian descendant population. And these Italians came with sculptors and painters that decorated the cemeteries and the church. So I think these were my first museums, my museums experience. I think the big influence on me was the relationship between images and architecture, light and architecture. And I think that also informs my practice in the sense of, the wall paintings like the murals. I wouldn't say frescoes, but they were like imitations of frescoes. This studio I built 10 years ago. Basically, I wanted this kind of very simple space where I had like good lights and where I could simulate exhibitions, mostly the wall paintings. This is part of an ongoing series where I use these 56 shades of gray. Actually, it plays with the architecture of this very space, as this has the same width of the corridor. So many people think there is a space beyond. I make works that are individual, like drawings and sculptures, but I have somehow a preference for the works that really involve the viewer. The way the viewer moves through the space, doing a kind of a camera work. That's the way I conceive these installations. For me, it's as important the movement as the image themselves. I'm working on the model for the Mazzoleni gallery in Turin. And this is a section of the gallery where I will have the show. I built it myself. It's a way to get more like acquainted with the space and to physically feel the space in scale. I've been thinking of how to access this exhibition. And this is very important, mostly when I do the wall paintings, because of the route that the viewer does. There is this cinematic quality to it. So this is very important, and this is basically now what I'm thinking about. I used to say the choice of a subject starts by a process that's very similar to recurrent dreams, in the way you're started being like chased by an object and you start looking at it everywhere, finding it everywhere. And then it starts a process of observation, of taking measures and examining this thing that usually goes unnoticed. This is more or less the process. And then it becomes something very technical, scientific almost. The representation of these objects, there is this contradiction between their physical situation made with dense materials, heavy materials, and their appearance, which is almost ethereal. They are solid objects, sculptures that look like an image. These two new works that I've been working on for the show at Mazzoleni, one is a compass, and the other is one of these folding measuring tapes. This is the actual compass from which we took the measures. In a sense, it's a copy in a much larger scale because I'm doing it like 1.80 meters high. So I made this association with the human figure. By representing not only the surface, the topography of an object, but going further in mocking its functional movements. It's like a desire to become, the desire to become part of the real world. So I think to me this is interesting, it's the way of introducing a function that is not exactly functional. That's more or less, the idea behind these two new sculptures. I live in a very hostile city. I moved here back in 1981 to study and to work. I never felt at home, and somehow I had to construct something to protect me from this hostile environment. This house was designed by these architects from São Paulo called MMBB. I looked for some architects that had to do, with my way of seeing. And I think the rationality in Brazilian architecture, mainly modernism, it has a lot to do with that. It's a sense of organizing the chaos of the social life, this chaotic reality. In the past 2 years, I have been very much involved in a reforestation project because I acquired some land in Serra da Mantiqueira, which is this mountain chain in southeast Brazil that is being deforested for centuries. But this, I believe, it's changing my own experience of space. In the cities, we are always walled. We are always between walls. Whereas when you are outdoors, kind of isolated, you are without that feeling of these limits. So I am like waiting to see if and what it will bring in terms of my art practice. I start having ideas for sculpture mainly over there, something that I don't know if I'll be able to do or not. I don't want to force anything. Somehow, I think it will happen. There is the historical movements of making art and life one thing. The fact that theater is such an important element for me. I was very involved in the process of building this house. It's a place where, you cook, you sleep, you do everything. So somehow it's living inside a work of art. And it's not only that. I think if you're coherent, if you're an artist worried about, your place in the world, with politics, with environment, you are joining art and life.